to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that Protential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service Ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is your go-to place in Lincoln for repairs and maintenance for diesel pickups to Class 8 over-the-road trucks and trailers, from bumper pole utility to full-size semi. Gray performs DOT inspections and are a service provider for fleet companies like ARI, Element Fleet, and FleetNet. They're a family-owned business in operation since 1952, and they keep a clean, friendly shop. Customer service is their top priority. Give Gray Diesel and Equipment Services a visit today, with easy access just off I-80 and North 56th Street.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles, from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread?
I can't stop eating it.
Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today. Found in most local grocery stores.
If you struggle with joint pain, there's good news. You don't need surgery to get back to full health. South Point Medical and Aesthetics offers breakthrough non-surgical options for treatment of moderate to severe joint pain. Our patients experience little to no downtime from our procedures, and the results are remarkable. They've had 14 years of successful treatments with patients from 35 states because of an effective word-of-mouth traffic. Learn more about how you can get lasting results for joint pain today at southpointmedical.com or call 402-323-8400.
Fall for savings at Bonsall Pool and Spa. Beginning October 13th, customers can take advantage of great cash and financing options on hot spring spas. Get up to $1,000 off a new High Life Collection spa or $500 off a new Limelight Collection spa when you pay in full, or get 0% APR for 60 months when you finance. This amazing offer ends October 23rd. Visit them at 33rd and Pioneers to learn more on how you can fall for savings at Bonsall Pool and Spa.
Whether you're booking a trip to Lincoln for a football game or a volleyball weekend, the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus is the place for you. The Scarlet Hotel is special on many levels, from the delicious Well and Good restaurant on the main floor to the coolest rooftop patio bar in Lincoln, the Barred Owl, on the top floor of the hotel with great views of the city and one of the coolest drink menus. Book your stay or book a staycation today at scarlethotelnebraska.com.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Us Norman with you here on the Husker Extra Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. If you've got thoughts, if you've got questions on Nebraska football, 17-9 win over Northwestern, let me know. 402-464-5685. That's the Starter Heyman text line. Send those questions in. We'll get through them with our two experts. We'll lead off with Sam McEwen here in just a sec. Tom Chattel will join us around 4:30. Big thanks to Allo Fiber for sponsoring our VIP line at Allo Fiber. They understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We go there right now, and we do welcome in Sam McEwen of the Omaha World Herald. Sam, by the week, Nebraska looks more and more Big Ten West, fewer than 250 yards of total offense, but the Huskers find a way to squeak out with a 17-9 win. Uncharacteristic mistakes from Northwestern in key moments. Northwestern looked a lot more like Nebraska we've seen recently than Nebraska did. Matt Rule might actually have changed something. It's kind of incredible.
Yeah, Northwestern did have a couple of penalties that don't typically befall Northwestern, but Nebraska's defense answered the dinner bell over and over. I mean, Nebraska's defense has a really good defensive line, which we wouldn't have predicted before the season or 9 months ago, but it has improved, Austin. It's gotten better, and certainly Terrence Knight deserves some credit. Other people do too, but that group's been pretty extraordinary this season, and you got to tip your cap to what Nebraska's doing there and what they've done overall on the defense. They really play hard. They hustle, they run. They're aggressive, but they really play hard, and it's the kind of defense that I think people around here have been waiting for some time.
I agree. Let's start with the playing hard. We'll get back to the defensive line. 3 touchdown saving plays by different guys. You have Isaac Gifford getting touched by 2 different offensive linemen, but still knifing through to make the tackle. You have Omar Brown saving a touchdown on a run that really looked reminiscent of Greg Bell against Colorado, where the running back breaks into the open field but gets caught from behind. And then Malcolm Hartzog gets burned, but catches Bryce Kurtz before he can make it to the end zone. Mm-hmm. Not perfect execution from Nebraska on any of those 3 plays, but players stepped up in big moments and kept 3 touchdowns off the board, 3 game-changing plays.
For sure. Yeah. The Gifford play was extraordinary. And I think it was one of those kind of plays that typifies, who Gifford is and the kind of player he is. He peeled out of the blitz just at the right time to go make that tackle. So he had the sixth sense that something wasn't quite right. And then he fought through a couple of guys to get there. And it was the best defensive play of the season that I've seen so far. So, and Matt Rule pointed it out. Anytime Matt Rule points out a play, it's notable. On the other 2, you're just talking hustle. Obviously, the Northwestern running back is a big guy and probably wasn't going to make it to the end zone, but Omar Brown got to him, and then Hartzog was able to run Kurtz down. And Northwestern they struggle in the red zone. Obviously, when you compress that area down there, Nebraska just gets really tough. They have a good defensive scheme for the red zone. I can't remember what their red zone touchdown percentage is right now, but it's not real high. And they do a nice job of making it hard on teams. So Nebraska's doing a lot of things right now. It's defensively they are. Now they're not playing great teams.
Right.
There aren't a lot of great offenses in the Big Ten, and Michigan might be one. Probably they're going to face a couple down the stretch. I think Purdue's got ability, and they're probably spent the week thinking about how they can fix some of their mistakes. Some of their mistakes are just related to ball security. And then Maryland's got some stuff going on too. So Nebraska will get challenged a little bit, I think, down the stretch here, but certainly for the most part, Nebraska's defense has held its own all the way and has played very well in a lot of games.
There's a lot of similarities between this defense in 2021, just in terms of storylines and getting put in some bad situations and having to bow up time and time again. Eventually, that 2021 defense would break and Nebraska would lose a 1-score game. But each of the last 2 games for Nebraska, even go back and point to a couple plays early at Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech, this defense has stood up. I think you credit the players, but I think the messaging from Tony White and Matt Rule for not giving those guys an excuse. I think it was Prince Will and Monmielen say it's just an excuse to get back on the field. We're looking forward to it. We don't like our offense turning it over, but it's an opportunity, a chance for us to play more football. Is it just that mindset that's made that big a difference in just 2 years?
Some of it, I think, is the mindset. I think that's a little bit of it. I would say that some of it is they're eating a little more time off the clock on offense. They're not necessarily leaving the defense in better positions, but the defense is facing fewer plays. The clock changes have affected it. And then Nebraska's special teams is not god-awful. And it was in 2021. People may forget some of that. Nebraska's defense, I think the special teams gave up 7 points against Michigan State, 7 points against Iowa. I think there might have been 2 against Illinois, 2 against Oklahoma. There might have been another one.
Was there a kick return against Wisconsin?
Yep, 7 against Wisconsin, and there might have been another one in there. I don't really remember, but Nebraska's special teams was maybe the worst that we've ever seen it. And the Michigan State game and then the Illinois game, that was the most deficient collection of special teams moments I've seen in Nebraska football history. And so, to be clear, there's other things that have gotten better because they've gotten a little bit more competent. Now there's still 5 games left. That could change, but I think for the most part, Nebraska's getting better in some areas. And, they're not killing themselves in some areas. They're not hurting themselves as much. I think that's positive. But again, there's still a ways to go. This thing is not over yet, and Nebraska has won 4 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they could lose their last 5. It's possible. So you can't really let off the gas pedal here. And I would dare say that if they did against Purdue what they did against Northwestern in the first quarter, I don't think they win the game. I think Purdue puts 10 on the board. Maybe not 14, but they'll put 10. They got better football players than Northwestern, especially on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So Nebraska's not going to be able to do that against Purdue. Purdue's a better offensive team than Illinois and better than Northwestern. So that's something Nebraska will have to take into account.
Nebraska's best 4-quarter performance for my money this year was Northern Illinois. They played 3 better quarters against Northwestern after that first quarter. But the fourth quarter against Illinois, they had plenty of chances to let it slip. So if you play another one of those two, I think Purdue's in the game. Circling back to that defensive line, though, Sam, we talked a lot in the offseason about the 3-3-5, but we have to remember, too, that Tony White and Matt Rule said, we want to get our best guys on the field. Tony White and his defensive staff, Terrence Knighton on the D-line, said 5 defensive linemen might just work against a mediocre Northwestern offensive line, and it did. 8 sacks. They dominate that last drive of the game. They finished the game with a sack. What did you make of the 5-man defensive front?
Well, it's effective when you're in a situation where you're able to rush the passer on 3rd and long consistently, which Nebraska was able to do. So they Northwestern, you don't usually run tempo going into 3rd and long, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. So there were circumstances where, Northwestern was in 3rd and 3 and they had a false start. I think that happened 2 different times. And at that point, you rotate your defensive lineman onto the field and you go after the quarterback. And so there were some circumstances that I think helped get all 5 of those guys on the field. I know Northwestern wanted to run tempo, but it wasn't always easy. I thought it worked. And again, I think it probably would work against a number of teams. It's a question of whether you can get manageable or long yardage situations that make it less risky. On third and 3, there's a lot of different things the team can do, and that defensive line may not get back there. But when they're able to pin their ears back and just go, I thought it was effective. So they're doing a nice job with mixing and matching personnel, and they have a pretty good idea. And again, the moment in time, the Big Ten West is bad. Offense in college football isn't real good right now. There's a few teams that are really good, but in general, it's not. I think what you're seeing is that a lot of the elite offensive players and offensive tackles and quarterbacks and other things, they're leaving school and going to the NFL, and you have these other kids that are, now in their 4th or their 5th, or in some cases their 6th year because of COVID, and you're just seeing the defenses get way better. And so, we're going to have a couple more years of this, because if you were a freshman in 2020, that year didn't count. And so that wasn't even your redshirt year, even if you didn't play. So 2021, your redshirt, that was your redshirt year. So you've got 3rd-year redshirt freshmen in 2022, 4th-year redshirt sophomore in 2023. Maybe they're not good enough to play in the NFL, but they're good enough to stick around college for 6 years. I think you're going to see college football remain defense heavy until this whole thing, the whole COVID process, washes out. And it's not going to wash out till 2026.
Woo.
Because anybody that comes into a program in 2020, that year didn't count, and then 2021 could be a redshirt year, and you can legitimately have 6-year seniors playing in 2025 who are 24 years old. And a lot of times on offense, those guys are gone. They're gone by then. They just aren't around. There's a couple quarterbacks, Tanner Mordecai, a few others, but a lot of times those defensive players, if you can keep them around for 6 years, you'll keep them around for 6 years. In this case, I think that you're going to see more and more of that. Whereas, Caleb Williams is gone. Drake May is going to be gone. Jaden Daniels is going to be gone. Phoenix is in his 6th year, so he'll be gone anyway. But a lot of the great quarterbacks are going because they're going to the NFL. So Nebraska's going to benefit from this for a while, and I think they're going to be good on defense for a while if they can keep all these guys in the fold.
It's a similar trend in college basketball as well, where if you can get a bucket, you're going to the NBA. But that's why I think Nebraska basketball stands to benefit with an older team. That's a different conversation for a different time.
Agreed. No, I agree with you for sure.
The man in the middle of the defensive line, back on Husker football, Nash Hutmacher, maybe his best statistical game with those 2.5 sacks. He's really come into his own this year. What do you make of his scheme fit in this 3-3-5? Is this the version of Nash Hutmacher we were promised a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think you have to give a lot of credit to Corey Campbell. Matt Rule, credited Kristen Coggin too, the nutritionist, which, yes, for sure. I think Corey Campbell has made Nash Hutmacher a more agile player, though, and I don't know if food can do that, but maybe that helps in the process. But Campbell's really done a good work with Hutmacher because, Nash has always been really hard to move. He's a hard person to block. He didn't always make plays, though. And what's happened is he's become agile. And I think he's maybe moved away a little bit from the pure brute strength, can't move the guy wrestler to this. This is a football player. This isn't a wrestler who happens to play football. This is a very active, quick twitch football player who's really hard to block. And, centers are struggling with him because he's not small. He's 325, but he's also not, you can't get your pads into him very easily, because he's a little compressed. He's 6'2". For example, Ruquan Buckley is a taller guy, and you can get into him a little bit because he's taller. Jordan Riley was the same way. These were good football players. Jordan Riley's in the NFL, but Hutmacher's hard to get a hold of because he's not real tall. He's about 6'2.5", but he's agile and he's strong. So it's a challenge for linemen to. He can play over some guys. He can play under some guys. There's some things that he's doing really well that are just challenging now that he can move. And, 6'2", 6'3", 300-pound linemen who can move are really valuable, even in the NFL. And I think Nash is going to get some looks now. Now it's possible he comes back. I could see that happening. I think one more year like this would put him in really nice territory, but he's going to get some looks after the season based on what he's done so far, because that's a guy that's the guy who can play the run or the pass. It reminds me of Malik Collins. Malik was like that too, and about the same height, also a wrestler. So I think Nash is comparing favorably at this point to Malik.
I like that comparison in terms of the play on the field, but in terms of the decision ahead of him, maybe more Vincent Valentine-esque. I think Valentine could have been served by another year back in school.
Yeah, sure. Vince, I think was going to go because he wasn't going to play for, and of course that guy left anyway, but he wasn't playing for that coach again, and the guy at the time, and Vince was, I think he had different interests, and so he wanted to get going. Malik had a family to support. If he had come back, he probably would have been a first-round pick, but he wanted to go, and Malik had the work ethic.
Yeah.
I think Malik was just in general a better football player than Vincent Valentine, but he also had the want to, which is why he's still in the league, and he's on, I believe, a 3rd contract. So Nash, I think, will be that kind of player, and Ty Robinson's going to play in the NFL for sure. I mean, Ty's good. He's not getting as much pub this year because he has a slightly different role, but he played really well on Saturday, and I dare say he played better than Nash. And he's going to keep coming so long as he stays healthy. I think you're going to see a lot from this line over the last 5 games of the year, But you're also going to see them play some teams where their quarterbacks can get the ball out.
Right.
And so they're going to have to get a little tighter on their coverage. And if Nebraska's, they don't have many weaknesses on defense, but they play man-free coverage, so you can beat them deep. That's one thing that happens. The other thing that they will do is if you can get a little bit of time, those linebackers don't always get quite the right drops, and they're not huge. So they're not 6'5", Urlacher in a zone. You can get it over those guys. But most of these teams they're playing just don't have the ability to hit their tight ends. I mean, Nebraska has not really been hurt by a tight end outside of Michigan. I mean, they've been pretty good against guarding that middle pass.
A tight end could have hurt Nebraska down towards the end of the game, but Sullivan held on to the ball against the blitz, and then Hartzog blew up the same play on back-to-back plays to prevent a touchdown. We're talking with Sam McEwen here of the Omaha World Herald on the Husker Extra Hour. Sam, let's briefly touch on the Husker offense. Let's start at the quarterback position with Heinrich Harburg. Not his best game. I wasn't very impressed, but he learned a lot, I think, while still being able to win the game. And that, I think, is big, and that he wasn't at his best for any number of reasons with the injuries and an older Northwestern defense. But that's a gamer at quarterback, a guy that found a way to improve off a rough start and didn't let it bury his team.
I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, the things that Heinrich does well speak to his competitiveness and his resourcefulness. So he's pretty good on third down. I think he was over the line on the first third down conversion. It was very close. They didn't review it. I thought Northwestern should have challenged that.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. But he's resourceful. He's pretty good at that. Like that, he was good at that in high school. He could move around the pocket. He could manipulate, run around, and he was good in that in high school. He practiced that in high school. He's still good at that. I think the areas where he can get better, and I'm sure he knows this, is when you know you've got a play that's teed up like that little reverse bootleg out comeback route, or it wasn't a comeback route, it was a wheel route. It might have been easier for him if it had been a comeback route, but it's a wheel route. You got to hit that pass. That was a big miss. That was his biggest mistake of the game. Maybe even more than the interception, the first interception. When your coach gives you a play that uses your athleticism, all you got to do is get that ball, 5 yards off the ground in its general area, and you're not able to do it. That's a miss, and so they got to work on that. That was a miss. I think he can certainly get better at, when he hits the top of his drop, getting it out. Now they got a couple to Fedoni, just a couple of quick ones, which I thought was good. They need to do that more. You need to be able to throw the ball for a 4 or 5 yard gain, because you're just not going to hit, 5 yard runs every single time on first down. So they hit that play. I thought that was good. He'll continue to grow, but he is good in improvisation, and he's certainly tough. And the option stuff, I encourage you to have. You guys got option quarterbacks and option running backs. I think they can tell you what he could do differently to make those plays work. I will say that on that 20-yard run, if he runs right at the Northwestern defender and presses the hole just a little bit, that's a touchdown, because he could pitch it, and Emmett Johnson has a clear lane outside the numbers to the end zone. The way that fans can tell what's going on those plays is to watch where the receivers are positioned. What the receiver expects to happen is probably what should have happened. And if people look at that play, they'll see that Nebraska blocked it beautifully downfield for a pitch. And Harvard's just going to have to continue to learn how that play is designed, and sometimes you pitch it early. On that one, I think what you do is you kind of press it until the guy gets right at you, then you pitch it, and it would have been a pretty easy score, to be honest with you. So those are all things that he'll continue to work on.
Not to cross sports references again, but it's like a 2-on-1 in basketball. Make the guy guard you. If he's not going to guard you, keep it. If he does step up to you, then that's when you pitch it. But I'm glad you brought up Emmett Johnson. I thought he was really impressive in the postgame press conference. I'm not going to lie. A couple of weeks ago, I was worried when Josh Fleeks was elevated above him on the depth chart that was kind of a message about what this coaching staff thought of him. But he gets the start. 12 carries, 73 yards, showed some toughness, showed some quickness. I think that's a step forward for Emmett Johnson. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought he ran hard for sure. I think he's tough, not afraid. You know, most of these backs, including Emmett, the majority of their careers have been spent, you know, in high school, and you know, being tough at that level and running in between the tackles. And I think if Emmett plays 5 games and does that, I think he's going to feel the toll of it. And so you've got to find ways to make sure that you're getting him the ball in space, and that, you know, he's not getting rocked. And he didn't get rocked. I didn't think Harvard got rocked
A couple times, yeah.
I thought, Emmett got hit hard a couple of times, but upper body and you know, ribs and protecting that stuff. To me, it looks like Emmett, much like Ramir, is pretty well built in the legs and knees area, and he's probably not going to worry as much about a knee or a hip injury like Gabe Irvin's had, because Gabe's really heavy on the bottom and also heavy on top. But you got to make sure that you're protecting a back like that and helping him to absorb the blows and know how not to take a big hit. So we'll see. It's maybe the hardest position to play in terms of just a complete lack of fear. You got to be a great athlete to play running back, an elite athlete, and then you just can't. You cannot be afraid for a half second, and you have to be probably the toughest guy on the field, because the abuse you're going to take at that position is significant. And we'll see. You know, this was the first good game. Can he put together 5 of them, and can he stay healthy? You know, because Ramir Johnson could do all the things that Emmett was doing, but he got hurt, and Emmett's got to stay upright at 5'11", 190. We'll see if he does.
It's Sam McCune of the Omaha World Herald with us on our Allo VIP line. Sam, as always, appreciate the time. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk next week.
Take care, brother.
Once again, Sam joins us on our Allo VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We'll step aside, take a break. When we get back, we'll bring on Tom Chattel, also of the Omaha World Herald, as we continue the Husker Extra Hour here on 93.7 The Ticket.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. For October, it's Pork Month. Enjoy all-natural boneless pork shoulder for $169 per pound, fresh pork belly for $2.99 per pound, and Fairway's fresh ham loaf mix for $2.99 per pound. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through October 24th are pre-packaged picana for just $7.99 per pound. And don't forget to check out their Friday feast this week and every week. Plus, don't forget their 2 new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
What would you tell a friend who was on the fence about going to Limitless Mail?
I would tell them to go to Limitless today. Don't hesitate. You're going to second guess yourself on if it's the right decision. The staff there is amazing. The treatments work. I'm living proof that it can completely change your life for the better.
Join thousands of men who have changed their lives with testosterone treatment. Slow down the aging process and live life. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmail.com.
Fall for savings at Bonsall Pool and Spa. Beginning October 13th, customers can take advantage of great cash and financing options on hot spring spas. Get up to $1,000 off a new High Life Collection spa or $500 off a new Limelight Collection spa when you pay in full, or get 0% APR for 60 months when you finance. This amazing offer ends October 23rd. Visit them at 33rd and Pioneers to learn more on how you can fall for savings at Bonsall Pool and Spa.
So I switched my insurance to State Farm, and get this. I talked to an actual State Farm agent who lives in my actual town. And get this. My actual agent in my actual town gave me actual help with the coverage I needed. And get this. My actual agent in my actual town who gave me actual help actually knows my name. And get this. They actually say it's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Kreekak, at 402-474-1173.
If you want all the latest technologies from those big banks, but you also want that hometown feel when you walk in the front doors, choose Midwest Bank. They have top-notch technology. They make banking so easy, and they also have the friendliest staff. who will take their time to get to know you and treat you like family. You get the best of both worlds when you choose Midwest Bank. I live on the go, and now I can bank on the go. With Midwest Bank, I have everything I need at my fingertips. I'm volleyball player Allie Batenhorst, and at Midwest Bank, you'll love banking here.
Whether you're booking a trip to Lincoln for a football game or a volleyball weekend, the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus is the place for you. The Scarlet Hotel is special on many levels, from the delicious Well and Good restaurant on the main floor to the coolest rooftop patio bar in Lincoln, the Barred Owl, on the top floor of the hotel with great views of the city and one of the coolest drink menus. Book your stay or book a staycation today at scarlethotelnebraska.com.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show, powered by Sunbelt Rentals. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador, Select Plumbing, Jimmy John's, Lincoln Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits, Fleet Feet, Bure's Cheese Spread on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Austin Norman with you inside the 93.7 The Ticket studios in Lincoln. 402-464-5685 if you have any thoughts on Nebraska's 17-9 win over Northwestern. We go to our VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We welcome in Tom Chattel of the Omaha World Herald here on the Husker Extra Hour. Tom, it's a beautiful day outside, a beautiful day for football yesterday, and a beautiful win. Your column spoke to me. Winning is beautiful. Doesn't matter how it looks. I like that column. I'm one of those people that has made my derision for the Iowa way of doing things, some of the Big Ten West way of doing things clear over the last few years. But darned if I'm not starting to embrace, don't call it winning ugly. I think you have a point because winning's beautiful, but winning in maybe a less than aesthetically pleasing way.
Yeah, it just depends on what side of the line you're looking at. If you're looking at the defense, it's a beautiful defense, right?
Yeah,
that's a defense that would hold up in any era of Nebraska football. But the offense is. Well, it's got issues, and we knew that, all along. They started the year with they don't have a lot of playmakers, and we weren't sure about Jeff Sims, and he played 2 games, and he made plays for both teams. But that's all we've seen from him. Harburg is a guy with, like I say, he's fun to watch. He's got flaws. But he fights. He's resilient. He's kind of a guy you can, from a fan standpoint, you can really like him a lot. But they're injured. They just keep losing, running backs and receivers. They didn't have that many to start with. So I look at it this way. When is a Nebraska fan going to argue with winning after the last 6 years or 7 years or whatever it's been? It's just go enjoy it. And there are high expectations for this year, and anything like going to a bowl, it almost feels like overachieving a little bit. So just have fun and see where it goes. They're not there yet, but. That was a big one yesterday.
It was a big one yesterday after a big one on a Friday night in Champaign. To me, just like you said with Harburg, the resilience, I think on a team level is something that we've seen more from this group than we have in the last few years. From the 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter against Illinois, the defense bows up. 2 turnovers on the Nebraska side of the field in the first quarter, the defense bows up. But even on the Heinrich Harburg part 2, he didn't bow his head, right? He responded really well, not perfectly, but really well, took care of the ball from the interceptions and the dropped fumble there on. The resilience, is that because players are more confident in their abilities? Is that Matt Rule's messaging to his team before and after the game? Where did this mental toughness over these last few weeks come from?
Yeah, I think they inherited some of that. They were pretty resilient and tough the second half of last season. They were a lot of games. They managed to win a few. Even Rule said in the spring that he really complimented Mickey Joseph and Bill Bush for the way they kept the players fighting. So I give them a little bit of credit there. I just think it's the resilience and fight is the theme of the year, and it's going to be that every week. I'm anxious to hear what he has to say tomorrow. The Monday press conferences are like a weekly speech, not only to us, the fans, but also his team. So what's the message tomorrow? The Monday message. I think it's what these coaches want to get out of this season. Obviously, they want to win. They want to go to a bowl. But to me, I figured out the first building block of this project is to fight through everything and never take a play off and always play to the end and expect good things to happen. It's really an interesting thing to watch. I'm so tired of winning and losing, and of course a lot of losing, but just riding the roller coaster every week of every game is sort of I guess a statement of where the program is, and it's just so refreshing to just for me to focus in on. Yeah, I've never seen a program really built from the bottom. This might be fun to watch. So I'm focused on that. So, yeah, I think to answer your question, it's this year's theme, and he came out of Michigan saying, okay, we're going to find out what we're made of, and they practiced right after the game, and all the thing was how are you going to react to Michigan, and then it was okay, you had a nice win in Illinois. Are you going to let down, and are you going to keep fighting? And so I'm anxious to see what he says now. Okay,
right?
You know what I mean? It just be like, okay, what's this year, or what's this big theme going to be? So, Purdue is not going to be easy, and Northwestern wasn't easy. But man, it's a hell of a lot easier when you got a defensive line playing like that.
Okay, you said the first building block was mental. The second is along the lines. Reading your columns, talking to you, I know you're a big line guy. So I want your thoughts on Tony White and Terrence Knighton and the rest of the defensive staff too, but mainly White and Knighton, throwing out a 5-man defensive line at sometimes against Northwestern, including a guy named James Williams, who was on the scout team, whose name everyone had to look up. What did you make of that move? Did you like it? Do you think it was interesting, innovative? It clearly worked.
Yeah, it's they seem to be pushing a lot of the right buttons on defense with the personnel. I mean, he's on the scout team over this week, and he's out there doing that. I don't think it's people who got caught up in the scheme on defense, and I don't think anything they're doing is about scheme. I think it's effort, and they're just playing. It's just just pedal the metal all every play. I just love the way they're playing, and I'd love to know what's going on there. The polar bear is on fire. It has been all season. Now, what got into him? Sometimes these things happen, and when you get a new coaching staff, some players maybe you're, maybe the bear was just ready to come out this year, or maybe something clicked with the staff. I think there's a lot to that.
Nash Hutmacher, 2.5 sacks. The defense 8 as a unit, 13 total tackles for loss. But on the other side of the trenches here, Tom, the offensive line, Ethan Piper goes down, starting left guard. That's a big loss for this team. We know about all the injuries to the skill positions, but Ethan Piper's played some good football for this team. to see him go down just when Nebraska was trying to ice the game and run the ball, that's disappointing. What do you make of his injury for that group?
Yeah, I didn't see it, and it's really too bad. He was playing well, and in Illinois, he stepped up as like a leader, and he had a injured hand, and he still played, and he was out there playing well. I don't know who's left. They kept, they brought some guys on yesterday to. One guy was not a center, and he had to play center for a while because Ben Scott was out. It's a patchwork group in a lot of ways right now. They could really use some help from the receivers, these young receivers. So maybe we'll see as numbers dwindle. Maybe on the line, maybe some of the receivers will start. Malachi Coleman yesterday was just a godsend. He just the timing of his play was incredible. Otherwise it's still a tight game. It's still a field goal game in a way. It came down to that, and I'm just thinking, don't keep Northwestern in the game. And so that play, right when they, I've been kind of looking at the play calling of that game, going, oh man, they come out of the gate passing and 2 interceptions and against the wind, and I'm just kind of snickering and I chuckling all game. But whenever they went back to pass, like, what are they doing? They Northwestern gives up so many yards rushing. Why are they doing this? And so when Harvard went back to pass on that play, I'm going, oh, here we go. and all of a sudden, it's this beautiful spiral caught right inside the end line, the goal line, and just the back of the end zone. Just wow, it was like, okay, I can get on board with this. And Coleman made a great play. He outran everybody, and it was the timing of that was just perfect.
It was, and I was with you, kind of chuckling at some of the play calling and the decision making. Granted, I fully admit that I'm better at playing armchair quarterback and coordinator than I ever would be playing actual quarterback or coordinator. But by calling that play at that time, it seemed like the time to take a shot. Marcus Satterfield dials it up. And credit Harbor, credit the O-line, and credit Coleman. They made it. I'm sure you've seen that play a handful of times covering Nebraska football. Did it look vintage?
It did. Maybe almost even I would have liked Jamal Ward's, day too. But they didn't. That was as good a throw as I've seen from many of those old quarterbacks. So it's just cool to see. I don't think Osborne needs to come back and call plays, but it's good to have a coaching staff. I think Tom's connecting with this staff maybe more than he did with Frost and all the others. I'm not sure he was really welcome in a couple of those rooms. I don't think Pelini wanted them around that much, and it's good to see him in there, and making suggestions. He feels comfortable enough to make suggestions, and they're going to use what he has to say. That's just smart. These guys had never run the Osborne offense before. They don't know much about the option or what was going on, and so it's maybe there's some good karma there that they're bringing Tom back. It's not being forced. It's not for show. It's kind of cool.
Last thing for you, Tom. You and a handful of your colleagues at the Omaha World Herald and across Nebraska media pulled double duty with the Husker football win over Northwestern, booked it over to the Bob Devaney Sports Center for Nebraska's 1-2 showdown with Wisconsin. What a match it was, lived up to a lot of the hype. And it seems like that's a game that in Nebraska volleyball's special seasons, it finds a way to win 1 or 2 of those matches a year. Credit John Cook, credit Harper Murray for coming alive late, credit the upperclassmen for keeping the ship steady, even down 2-1. What do you make of the win for the Nebraska volleyball last night?
I tell you what, there's just a different level, this year. There's just something different about this whole thing, and it doesn't mean they're going to win everything or whatever, but they played big matches before. They played number 1 versus number 2. They played Wisconsin every year. There's just something going on. The stadium match just cranked up the volume on everything, and not only with Nebraska but everywhere. I think in volleyball, and I would guess sporting the 2 Nebraska games that I've covered this year that stand out the most to me. The one I remember the most is the volleyball day in Nebraska, and the match last night. I'll never forget that. It was as good as anything I've ever seen at Nebraska. I mean, just I had to write a column in like 10 minutes, and I wish I'd said that last night. But I was thinking about it on the drive home last night. Just that's as good as I've seen a lot of incredible stuff. College World Series, all those Orange Bowls, Frazier, and all that, and that's as good as any of them. That atmosphere, the noise. I was kind of laughing to myself. What? That last cheer I heard was it as loud as when Jamar Johnson hit the shot in '92 to beat KU? This is the same building. But boy, it sure seems louder than anything I ever heard in the basketball days. It was insane. It was, and I found myself a little maybe I'm too much of a purist, but thinking, man, it's too bad a match like that has to end on a replay. And I've been kind of kicking around that idea. Maybe I might write about it this week. Should replay, decide games? I don't know if I like replay or not. I mean, there's sometimes it's good to get it right. But like that Iowa game yesterday, I just think, if it's a dead ball when the guy makes the signal, shouldn't the referees have just caught that and called it? Or I don't know. It's just I don't know. I don't know if we need to go into replay and appreciate the game that way, but. Regardless, it doesn't take away from anything. It was an amazing thing, and I've never seen a match or a game end like that, where you're waiting for a decision from the referees, the umpires, and it decides an incredibly huge match. And so we were sitting there silent, and people was waiting. All of a sudden, they give the signal. And everything erupts, and the players run out on the court, and it's over. It was just wow. I mean, it's like a last second shot. Only it was a last second replay shot. So anyway,
that's awesome, Tom. Appreciate your time as always. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and we'll look forward to talking again next week.
Yes, sir. See you. Thanks.
There he is, Tom Chattel, with us here on our Allo VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Big thanks to Sam McEwen leading us off here on the Husker Extra Hour. Tom Chattel joined us last segment. We'll step aside one last time, put a bow on the Husker Extra Hour, and get ready to turn it over to Tom and Mike for the Husker Rewind. Back in a sec.
This is Brad with Midwest Bank, proudly serving our Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank, making local decisions, supporting local organizations, and helping local businesses and farms succeed. We are dedicated to serving our clients and helping them meet their financial needs with sound, innovative banking solutions. From an array of checking and deposit accounts, cash management services, to small business, real estate, and ag lending. We're here for you. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at MidwestBank.com. Member FDIC.
At Jimmy John's, We don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
October is full of sports, with football and volleyball reaching midseason and basketball and winter sports starting up. All the excitement of the games brings major stress, and stress causes tight muscles and pain. It's time to call the Body Shop, your place in Lincoln for all types of massages: deep tissue, hydrating, sports, Swedish, hot stone, aroma, and more. And don't forget about their couples massages. Eliminate the pain from sports watching stress today with a massage at the Body Shop at 48th and A and online at thebodyshoplincoln.com.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's specials through October 24th are pre-packaged picana for just $7.99 per pound. And don't forget to check out their Friday feast this week and every week. Plus, don't forget their 2 new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show, powered by Sunbelt Rentals. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador, Select Plumbing, Jimmy John's, Lincoln Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, Fleet Beef, Yours Cheese Spread on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Bud Seinhorst, President and CEO of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket for the LIBA Business Hour, as we discuss local business and highlight those who are thriving in the Lincoln area. It's the LIBA Business Hour, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'm Austin Norman with you one final time here for the Husker Extra Hour in the 93.7 The Ticket studios here at 1040 O Street. Let's go to the Sardo Heyman text line here real quick. John in Portland says, volleyball, those young ladies are rolling, just young enough to not be afraid, scared, just getting it done. Amazing if you don't think about it. Yeah, young, like they don't know what they don't know. I think that's a good way to put it. They're confident in themselves and their abilities. Obviously, to play volleyball at a Nebraska level, regardless of what age you are, what year in school you are, you got to have plenty of confidence. I go back to Harper Murray. Not her best game through the first 3 sets, did a little bit of something in the 4th, and then goes nuclear in the 5th set, like Michaela Fecky stuff. Not just with the hard swing. She had a couple nice roll and tip shots that went down for kills, but she elevated her game in the biggest moment. Tip of the cap to her. You look at Lainey Choboy, who John Cook said if he could name an MVP of the match, it would be her, the freshman defensive specialist. For a team that's known for defense, right? That's what Nebraska has built this run on under John Cook, is defense. Wisconsin built on offense, but Nebraska's defense steps up. Now, Wisconsin, taller than Nebraska across the board, really, especially in the front line where it matters. They outblock Nebraska pretty significantly, but credit Choboy. Credit Lexi Rodriguez, one of the captains, playing in the back row as the libero. Nebraska's defense did it again. Nebraska still needs to clean up serving. Passing can always be better. John Cook will always, always, always stress those 2 things. But it just feels like there's a different level of confidence with this Nebraska team. You look at Merritt Beeson coming in from Florida, played plenty of high-level volleyball in the SEC and NCAA tournament in her time in Gainesville. You look at Lindsey Krause, for the last couple of weeks playing some really good volleyball. Experienced returner. Lexi Rodriguez, maybe the heart and soul of that team on the defensive side of the ball. You look to the middle. Becca Alec is an emotional spark. Still a young player, but lighten it up. Andy Jackson is a freshman in the middle as well. Tall, lanky, athletic, couldn't pay me enough to stand in front of a shot from her and try to dig it. You just couldn't. So big tip of the cap to Husker volleyball. They take down number 1 Wisconsin. That number 1 ranking will be back where it belongs when the next AVCA volleyball poll comes out. Do also have to shout out the women of Husker soccer. They claimed a share of the 2023 Big Ten Conference title. They beat Illinois 4-2 earlier today. They go 7-1-2 in league play. It's their 5th regular season title in program history. So big congratulations to the ladies of Husker soccer. That'll do it for me here on the Husker Extra Hour. It's been a fun couple hours hanging out with you. First of all, on the Corner 3, big thanks to my guy, Matt Hardesty, for stopping by. We talked about secret scrimmages, their purpose, some of the more interesting results from them, really across the country. A couple Pac-12, a couple SEC, a Big 10, Big 12 game or two sprinkled in the mix as well. Talk some Ken Pom preseason ratings. Ken Pomeroy, of course, the OG in college sports, numbers and analysis that way. We talked about that. And then big thanks to Sam McEwen, who led off the 4 o'clock hour, the Husker Extra Hour with us, and Tom Chattel joined us in our last segment. For Matt, for Sam, for Tom, I'm Austin. It's been a pleasure. Don't go anywhere. Husker Rewind comes your way next. Tom Stevens, Mike Melby waiting patiently in the wings. I'll get out of their way, turn it over to the two pros. It's been fun. I'll talk to you tomorrow during On the Block 2 to 4. Me, Eric Strickland. Look forward to hearing from you then. It's been fun. Go Big Red.
What would you tell a friend who was on the fence about going to Limitless Mail?
I would tell them to go to Limitless today. Don't hesitate. You're going to second guess yourself on if it's the right decision. The staff there is amazing. The treatments work. I'm living proof that it can completely change your life for the better.
Join thousands of men who have changed their lives with testosterone treatment. Slow down the aging process and live life. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmail.com.
Winning comes without a guarantee. Focus, discipline, and extraordinary effort make winning more likely. Sometimes our greatest wins come from major setbacks. Coming back from a serious injury is a win that requires teamwork. At Berry Law, we're in it to win it.
If you have been seriously injured, call Berry Law